Good morning, friends. Destiny and the divine grace. That is the topic for today. Destiny, we know, is, as Webster's dictionary says, it is predetermined course of event. Something taking us to that goal. And it's very powerful, and destiny is supposed to be inevitable. Destiny will take you to that place. It will make you achieve that, or it will make to lose you that. That is destiny. You are bound to go through the course and reach that state. It's called destiny. It may be good destiny, it may be bad destiny. Generally, by destiny we mean something like fate, something like you. By destiny it means, in terms it is used as if not very good. The goal, it is my destiny that I came here. In fact, destiny means anything. When you do good work, you attain success, that is also your destiny. It's not that destiny doesn't always mean failure or something unsuccessful result you get. That is not the destiny. Destiny is anything that you get in your life is, a theory says, it is predetermined. You were to get that. You have earned to receive that treatment, that aid. That is called destiny. And often it's used as something negative, that you will achieve something which is not pleasant, something that we often use the term destiny. What actually determines our destiny? What makes us reach that goal? What makes us receive what we receive? Who makes that? Is it God? Or is it chance? Or just we are playing and someone gets success, someone gets failure, someone gets knowledge, someone suffers a tremendous ignorance? What is responsible? Who makes so much variation in the destiny of humanity, human beings? Is God so partial that for someone he gives a very good life and all pleasure and joy, and someone is just thrown into the hell, in the pit, and he suffers all his life? The Vedanta says, no, God is impartial. It is we ourselves, we make our destiny. Swami Vivekananda says, we are the maker of our destiny. The karma theory of Vedanta says, what we work with our mind and body, that creates the course of our destiny. When we work, what we worked in our past lives, that all is resultant, comes and it makes the course of this life. So what we did in past life, any karma, any action done, deliberately done through our body and mind, it has to be deliberate, willful. Willful often it's impelled by ego and desires. That type of thing makes our karma. If it is done without the sense of ego and for the sake of the Lord, without any selfish desire, then it doesn't make karma. The karma is made when it is desires, willful and impelled by ego. That sort of karma, that sort of action becomes karma. All our actions that we find in life, in present life, it in fact have two effects. One is the visible effect. We do something, we learn music. We learn music, then we can sing very nicely. Some of us sing nicely, some of us do not sing nicely. We try hard and we can produce the best thing. That is the visible effect of our karma, of our action that we are doing, to learn music, or to cook a food, or to learn mathematics. Whatever we try to achieve through our action is one visible effect. Another is invisible impressions that come and rest in our mind. Every action that we perform creates an impression, subtle impression in the mind. Every action is performed. Two dimensions of action. One is visible effect of the action that is seen by us and by everyone in the world. Another is unseen by the people, even unseen by us, but lying latent in our mind. Very permanently. It is so permanent, it's very difficult to get rid of. And that is called impression, samskara. Vedanta Vedanta says that once the samskara is made in your mind, it goes to the next life. You may die, your body may die, but when you are born in the next life, that samskara will go in the next life. And that samskara, there are thousands and hundreds of thousands of samskaras in us. Those are all the impressions of what we have done. And those impressions turn out to become vasanas, become tendencies. So suppose I am a good musician. Why one person can sing so nicely, another cannot sing, another cannot learn? The explanation of Vedanta is that person who sings nicely has the samskara of a singer from the past birth. He tried a little, the samskara impelled him or her as tendencies, and when he or she tried on that, it just fructified. Because there were already qualities were there in seed form, hidden. So she could achieve or he could achieve that quality and manifest that. And if that person, though this thing, this karma which takes place in this life, whatever we have the impressions, vasanas, and those impressions are being carried in this life and getting manifested. Those vasana, those karma are called prarabdha karma. There are three types of karma. Prarabdha karma is that karma which is destined to fructify in this life, which is destined to be manifested in this life, which is responsible for what we achieve and success, what happiness and misery we get in life is that prarabdha karma. It's our own making. And the prarabdha karma is a little portion of karma from the vast amount that is still there in the bag of our karma. And that is called sanchita karma. All the impressions that have been carried, they all don't fructify in one life. So we have a tremendous amount of karma, sanchita karma, the stored karma. From that comes little prarabdha karma in this life, the work out karma in this life, and this karma is being worked out. So one day, that's why all karma will be finished, because you take birth, some karma you burn in this life, and then less will be remain. But that doesn't happen. What happens is, when we do the prarabdha karma in this life, then by the way we work, we again create the impressions. Again the same thing, manifest something, and something impression carried. And that impression which is made during performance of the prarabdha karma is called agami karma. That agami karma being created and being stored in the sanchita karma, in the storehouse of karma. So storehouse of karma seems to be never ending. Until that bag of karma is with us, and it goes after death, it goes without soul, and that will make us born again and suffer and enjoy the life, according to what type of karma we have, and what of that karma will be manifested in the life. So this chain of karma is never ending. The bag never empties, and also we never cease to be born and die. So the cycle of birth and death depends on karma. That karma makes the destiny of ourselves. For what we achieve in this life, or what we do not achieve in this life, is because of our own making. We are the maker of our destiny. That's what it is said. So, and it is said that this prarabdha is so powerful. What the karma we have performed, and that karma is taking place, manifesting in this life, is so powerful. It is said it's very difficult to alter that prarabdha karma. What you have been destined to achieve or to not achieve, to have the happy life or miserable life, what you have been destined by your own working, that will manifest in this life. And to remove that, it is very difficult, almost impossible. That is one thing. So people asked Holy Mother, Mother, what is the use of doing Upasana, loving God and doing good works, serving others, if that prarabdha is not changed, altered? Is there any use of doing good works? Serving others, loving others? Holy Mother says, no, prarabdha is alterable. It can be changed. But it cannot be totally effaced. But it can be changed. And she gives example. Suppose you were destined to have your limb shivered from a body, as prarabdha was there, that your limb will be cut from your body. And you become devoted to God, surrender yourself to God, you do all good actions, you don't injure others. So that prarabdha will be transferred and you will have a prick in your foot. Prick of a needle or thorn in your foot. Little that prarabdha, so tremendous effect of your action in the path that was taking place, manifesting in this life, will become so narrow, so minor, that it will there will be prick. But all of that too will have to experience prarabdha. Even the theory of liberation, salvation, when you have knowledge, then all your karmas are burned. That big store of karma, big bag of karma will be burned totally if one has the knowledge of the self. That I am the self, I am not the doer. God alone does. I am witness. When you have that definite conviction of yourself as the witness, as the consciousness, not as the doer, no ego acting when you work, then all your karma is lost. Sanchita karma is all burned. Now no karma to make you born again in this life. But what about prarabdha karma? The prarabdha karma doesn't die. Though you might have attained God, but prarabdha karma will make you experience the whatever suffering or whatever joy you have to have in this life. Swami Vivekananda says, when you have attained the knowledge, now let this body run for some time. It is as if they say that when wheel is moving with the power of electricity or some power, and this power is switched off, then the wheel stops suddenly? No. It goes on moving till this motion is there. That all karma is there, but this prarabdha karma motion that is already set in motion, that will continue, and the person has to go through whatever was asked to go. Degree will be different, its effect will be different, misery will be different, suffering will be much less, bodily suffering will be there will be mental suffering will be much less or almost negligible because of the advent of knowledge in himself or herself. Swami Turiyananda had to undergo carbuncle surgery, very painful, and he said, don't put anesthesia, I can endure. So he had to go through the suffering of cutting the back. That is prarabdha karma. Whatever happens in life is the karma, prarabdha karma is destiny. But because he was such a controlled, self-controlled person, he didn't have to suffer the agony of that, oh, I'm suffering, like that. They don't say that way. They can easily endure finding themselves to be separate from the body. They can make themselves, I am not the body, convinced. Aham deha nasmi, I am not the body. So that feeling, that conviction is so strong, any suffering in the body that they have to little experience, but they can just deny and endure that easily, compared to us who identify ourselves with the body, the Atma Buddhi. But what happens in most of us, we are not aware to work deliberately in such a way that we don't produce any karma. We can do karma in such a way we alter our prarabdha karma. We don't do. Whatever impulses say us, whatever our tendencies guide us, we often work in that way. Where do we have so much control over mind? That is the problem. Human beings are often, one scientist said, they say that human beings, what generally we do is, for most people, the spinal cord is enough. The brain is something redundant. That is, most people lead instinctive, impulsive lives. Very few people really think and consciously guide their own lives. So when we start thinking that this is a karma will be produced by this, which will make me suffer in future in this life or in next lives, so we are aware, we are cautious, we won't do that. We start discriminating what is good action, what is bad action, and we renounce the bad action and perform the good action. But for that you need to use your brain. But when you work according to your impulse and tendencies, then it is very difficult to alter your karma. You suffer in this life, make all bad karma more sanchita karma, and go on being born and again. There have been the people in the world who think that what this karma is, there is no rebirth, there is no soul, there is no permanent something, there is no God. Only enjoy the world. This is the one life we got. Enjoy this. Eat, drink and be merry. In ancient times in India, there were charvaks, very materialistic. They didn't believe in God, they didn't believe in soul, and they said, just enjoy this life. When this body dies, where is there coming again? So those materialists were there in the ancient times. It is not that they were in the ancient times only. They are at this time also present in every one of us. Whenever we think about enjoyment from this body and we consider this body to be something very permanent, little of charvak is manifesting in us. When we forget that this body is ever-changing sack, ever-changing bag of our samskara, body and mind, then charvak, materialism in us. When we think that this body and mind is permanent, some real thing, and God is very far behind, then we are charvaks, materialistic. When we have faith in spirit and we try to identify ourselves more with the spirit than with this body and mind, then we become spiritual. Otherwise we are materialistic. Just to profess that we believe in God, just saying. Swami Vivekananda said, those atheists and materialists are better than those who say they believe in God, they believe in the spirit, but really don't act up to that. In their action, they are not seen to be really convinced in the existence of spirit. They work as if they are materialists, but they profess that they are believers of God. So they are not sincere. Those who say they are materialists, they are atheists, they are more sincere and better person, he said. So what Swami Vivekananda wants to say is not discouraging us from believing in God, but he said, if you believe in God, if you believe in spirit, you must have direct perception of the spirit. You must have direct vision of God and attempt for God. Then only you will be called a spiritual person, an ethical person, and a theist person who believes in God. Napoleon was once showed, they say this story, I don't know how far it is true, but the story goes that Napoleon showed his hand and says, your fate is very bad, your destiny is very simple, you will be just an army man, have a very hard life, struggle all over your life, you will have no achievement, no glory in your life. And Napoleon asked, which of the lines says that? He said, this line, it goes only up to this. Oh, is it that? I will change my destiny. And he brought a knife and made that line longer. So that gives him glory in life. So that way he tried to change his destiny, and he was a man of great confidence in himself. What makes one great in life is confidence in himself, that I can achieve. What another human being has achieved, I can achieve. That can be in the material world. I can become rich, I can own a big house, I can own a post of name and fame, or that confidence can be also in the spiritual field. I can conquer my anger, I can remove my hatred, I can become loving towards all, I can be devoted to God, I can manifest my spiritual qualities in this very life. That confidence can be used in spiritual world in that way. And that is what self-confidence is. Napoleon's confidence, he said, they said, oh, we can't conquer there, we can't go beyond that big mountain, there is Alps. Napoleon says, where is Alps? I don't see Alps, march on. And they crossed the Alps. And someone said, oh, Napoleon used to say, there is no impossible word, impossible in his dictionary. One person said, oh, Napoleon said there is no impossible word in his dictionary. Another person was reading this and said, what this Napoleon is saying, he should have checked before buying the dictionary. Why did he buy that dictionary when there is no impossible? That's a joke, of course. Now, what can change our destiny? The one thing that can change our destiny is grace of God. grace of God can change our destiny, and I'll say the examples how the destiny of the people have been changed. As I told you about the Holy Mother saying that grace of God can change the destiny if it was to cut the limb, it will be a prick of a thorn. Sri Krishna said also that way. You just resign yourself to me. You surrender yourself to me. You don't feel yourself to be a worker. Try to be agent of mine. Try to be instrument of my work. I will work through you. Then what will happen? Aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. I'll take the responsibility of all your actions. Whatever evil action, good action, if he said evil action. Whatever is performed by you, I will be responsible for that. But don't think yourself to be the worker, doer. Treat yourself to be the agent, instrument of my action. I will do through you. Always remember, it is Sri Krishna working, I am not working. Don't have that ego of a worker. Then I will take all the responsibility. That's what the grace of God, and then all know there will be no karma after that. Upanishads also say, when you have achieved the highest, kshiyante chasya karmani. All karmas are just redundant, become redundant, gone away. When we see the highest truth. And what happens after that? We find in the story of, you see, one story from Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya, the great prophet of Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, whose birthday is on the next Sunday, according to the lunar calendar. So, when his father prayed to God, to Shiva, to have a son, which he didn't have for many years, Shiva appeared and he said, I am ready to grant your boon. You have prayed a lot. I am very happy with your prayer. So he was very happy, but Shiva says, but I have a condition. If you want an average person as your son, average intellect person, he will live quite normal human life. But if you want very extraordinarily intelligent, it will have a very short life. Which one do you want? He gave the choice. The father said, I want very intelligent, extraordinarily intelligent son. Let he be short-lived, doesn't matter. There is a saying in Sanskrit. Muhurtam jwalitam shreya natu dhuma itam chiram. One wood you put in the fire, and it was soaked, wet wood. And you put there, it's not burning, flames are not coming. You put there, it's just smoke and smoke and smoke, long time you smoke, and then finally it is exhaust. Another you put, dry, it just burns, gives flame, gives heat, gives light, and it's finished. Much quicker. So, it is better to burn quicker and give light and heat than to just give smoke for throughout a long life. That said, have a great life doesn't necessarily, it's needed that you have a long life. The great life is more important. So, that Shankaracharya's father said that, I want a very extraordinarily intelligent son. So, and what was his destined life? Only 8 years. He didn't know that. His son will die in 8 years. Only that much of life was given to Shankara. Then finally 8 years came, and he had gone to bathe in the river, and then crocodile in the river that caught hold of Shankara. Shankara from his very childhood, very prodigious, he was a prodigy, and he learned many extraordinarily, he is very devoted, very highly thinking, and he was seeking to renounce the world, seeking permission from his mother. Father had died early. So mother, how can widow mother, only one son, how can she say to her son, go away, take sannyasa? She was not giving permission. Finally, the destiny came when he had completed his life of 8 years. His life in the world was finished. How it will finish? Crocodile came, and when he was bathing, it caught hold of his feet, and he was dragging. Crocodile was dragging this boy Shankara. Mother was on the bank, the son was going towards the deep into the river. Son said, Mother, crocodile has caught my feet and is dragging me, I am powerless. If you give me permission to become a sannyasi, then only perhaps I will be. Now please give me permission to become a sannyasi, become a monk. What mother would do? That time there was no alternative. That the destiny was there that he will die that time. Mother said, yes, I give you permission to become a sannyasi. The moment mother gave permission, that moment crocodile left that boy and boy swam back to the bank and came to the house. And at the age of 8, he renounced the world, became a monk, and his life was doubled, 16 years. After that, he didn't die at 16. There's another story which I will tell next time, next Sunday. Why he didn't die at 16 years. Like that was a recent case in Holy Mother's time. In our Jairambati, Holy Mother was there, one brahmachari was there. Holy Mother says to brahmachari, go just right now to Belur Math and take sannyas before midnight tomorrow from Swami Kripamayananda. Nothing was said. What is the reason, Mother? There is certain time that one has to wait, and what is so hurry that I have to go and take sannyas? But Mother said, no explanation was given, and the person went, walked over and took some train and reached the Belur Math next evening. And there Swami Brahmananda said, yes, I was waiting for you, we'll have sannyasa today at midnight. 12 o'clock we'll have sannyasa. How did Swami Brahmananda know? There was no telephone, nobody could come earlier than him. So but he knew. Then sannyasa was given next day at 12 midnight. Then when he went back wearing ochre robe, Holy Mother called him. I'm very happy that you have sannyasa, but you know why I hurried you so much? I came to know just 2 days before that you have very short, destiny of your life is very short. You are going to be bitten by a poisonous snake on the midnight when you had sannyasa, and there will be the end of your life. You are destined to live only that. So sannyasa, this giving yourself completely for the service and for the worship of God, completely detached and withdrawn from the world, changed your destiny. The grace of God in the form of your taking monastic life changed your course, destiny, and you are survived. That's how grace of God can survive. It can change our destiny. Yam, the writer of, the recorder of Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, was very sad, trouble in his family life. With his parents, with his father, something happened, misunderstanding. And as happens, he was terribly sad. And he came with his wife and his children to a friend's place. And he was so disgusted with this life, human lives, his nets and his sufferings, that he said, oh, this is not worth living. I should end my life. He was ready to commit suicide. Then one day he came to a friend's place and he was just prepared that he will commit suicide next day. His friend said, he didn't say to anyone, he said, will you like to go to one temple garden? There one Paramahamsa lives. He said, let's go. Now I'm going to live life, whatever is there, let me see some Mother Kali's temple, let's go. He went there to Dakshineshwar, met Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna asked some questions and he asked, come tomorrow. His life was totally changed. His desire to finish his life turned into, just vanished. He then completely surrendered to Sri Ramakrishna and started enjoying the life, started seeing it a new light, and changed that gradually after 2 years changed his relation with his father, went back home at the bidding of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna is recorded in the Gospel, how much he faithfully recorded. He said, Sri Ramakrishna said, can't you go to your father and prostrate before him? His father treated him some ill with his second wife or his stepmother. Something was there. Sri Ramakrishna always wanted that family relations should be good. And Yam's life was changed. He said, yes, I will go. He changed and he went to his father's place after 2 years. His thought of committing suicide completely went. He became a headmaster, he was already there, taught teachers, inspired people to come to Sri Ramakrishna, inspired people to take a good life, devotion to God, and many he inspired to become monk after Sri Ramakrishna's appearance, physical appearance. Many became monks by the inspiration of Yam. And as Yam, Sri Ramakrishna had said, try to be the world, but let everyone feel that they belong to you and you belong to them. But in the heart of your hearts, know for certain that you don't belong to them. None of your family members belong to you. Know that in the heart of your hearts. You belong to God. All they belong to God. Everything belongs to God. Never think harp in your mind that they belong to you. Will you follow this? Sri Ramakrishna said very sternly. He followed that. He followed that how much he belonged to Sri Ramakrishna, how much he belonged to God, he was totally detached. The story once I related, that some monks had come to his house and he treated the monks, buying sweets and fed them, and monks were talking, didn't know anything. After some time visiting monks heard the wailing from the upper story. They asked, why people are crying such a wailing voice? What had happened? Yam said, one girl of this house has died in the morning. Can you believe his own daughter had died in the morning? And he was so unaffected by this great shock. How can that happen unless one feels that everything belongs to God and everything happens by God's will? Unless one have complete surrender to the will of God, how can one behave like that? That is what being unaffected by the changes in the world. That everything is done by God. God is the doer. We are just the witness. We just see. This is the play of God. And that is what him was. That happened by the grace of Sri Ramakrishna. His complete destiny was changed. Girish Ghosh was a great dramatist, playwright, very intelligent person, writer. And he led a very bad life. He said, there is no sin that I have not committed. But by chance, Sri Ramakrishna came in his life. And how Sri Ramakrishna's grace changed his life, that great sinner whom he said, wherever I sit, the 7 cubits of my land beneath me becomes sinful. It becomes impure. I have so impure life. That person became like a saint. Swami Vivekananda treated him as a monk, and he said, you are a Bhairav, you are an incarnation of Shiva. And he says, and Swami Vivekananda asked Girish to say something about Sri Ramakrishna. Girish says, what can I say of the grace of Sri Ramakrishna? Who am I and where you are? You are so great, pure from very birth. Narendra, Swami Vivekananda, and today you see I am sitting on a level of yours, along with you, equal to you. I am treated that way. So is it possible without the grace of God? The man who was sinner, who was supposed to suffer in life, when it comes to sin, he will suffer in life in the next life. But that person's destiny was totally changed by the grace of Sri Ramakrishna, by the grace of God. Swami Adbhutananda was once traveling. How this destiny changes when God takes your care. Sri Ramakrishna says, in the first stage, the devotee treats himself or herself as a baby monkey and clings to God, and clings to monkey, baby monkey clings to mother. The devotee clings to God at the time of difficulty. Lord, save me. Lord, protect me. And he is saved. But when the devotion matures, that baby monkey becomes baby kitten and God becomes cat. Then what happens? Then God takes care of the child, of the devotee. The kitten doesn't have to worry anything. It doesn't have to cling even. The mother will come and take the kitten and place it in different places wherever suitable to protect it from everything. So the devotee doesn't have to take care of itself, and then there is the mature devotion. Swami Abhedananda was supposed to travel in a ship during the Second World War. Sri Ramakrishna somehow comes and says, Abhedananda, don't go in that ship, don't buy ticket in that ship. He had the vision. He didn't buy. Later on he got the news after a few days that ship got caught in the World War and it was destroyed in the mid-sea. Swami Abhedananda's life was saved. What about Swami Vivekananda? Swami Vivekananda came to the West and spoke about Vedanta, spoke about the immortality. Many people felt scared, afraid, and they were very afraid that their job will go, particularly the missionaries. And they even wanted to kill Swami Vivekananda. And at one place, when he was offered a cup of coffee, they mixed poison to kill him. Swami Vivekananda, in innocence and total dependence on God, total surrender to God, he was going to drink coffee. He says, Sri Ramakrishna imagine the coffee. There's something wrong. He doesn't drink. Later on find that there was poison mixed in that coffee. Sri Ramakrishna changes his, that he could have died that time. Who protects? When you have complete surrender to God, you are always protected, your destiny is changed. Ladu, Swami Adbhutananda, was a village boy, illiterate, didn't know anything, came to serve in a house. Luckily that house was Sri Ramakrishna's devotee's house. He was very poor, had no parents, both his father and mother had died. So he was destined to live his life as a servant in a household. He comes in touch with Sri Ramakrishna, loves Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna sees spiritual quality in him, and then his life changes. He becomes a great saint. He speaks the words of wisdom. He manifests the full spiritual growth through him just by the grace of Sri Ramakrishna. How this destiny of the people are changed by the grace of God. Matthew was a money lender. Money lending was seen to be a very lowly work at the time. And Jesus sees him. He says, come, follow me. He follows Jesus. He becomes a saint, recorder of the gospel. Matthew, the money lender, becomes a great disciple, direct disciple of Jesus Christ, just by the grace. Even the story in the Bible said Lazarus was dead. He was destined and he even was dead. Jesus came, his grace made Lazarus come forth, and Lazarus survives. So the grace of God can do anything, Our whole destiny can be changed. Then what is this grace? What is this divine grace? And how we will have in our lives? The divine grace, they say, Sri Ramakrishna says, grace is not something that you acquire, that you have to attain. Grace is always, if you have to acquire or achieve with your work or something, then how it is grace? Grace has to be freely available without any work. Grace is always there. In Sri Ramakrishna's language, the breeze of grace is always blowing. Only if we want to go across the water, across the river in a boat, you have to unfurl the sail. Breeze is there. You can go very easily across the boat, across the river by the boat. You don't have to row it. But you have to unfurl the sail so that it catches boat. That much is needed to utilize the grace. It is not acquiring the grace. To be able to utilize the grace of God. That is needed. You must be fit candidate to use the grace of God. It is always there. And what is grace? They say, a little work done, you unfurl the sail, little work, but your boat is taken across the big river. Huge effect. The grace is small work done, and you get great, its effect is called grace. But small work has to be done. Sri Ramakrishna said in another language, if you go one step towards God, God will come 10 steps towards you. His grace, only one step you have to take. One nice example I heard of this grace, it says you are in a dark, cold room and shivering and very unhappy, see nothing, everything is dark and blinding for you. You want light, you want warmth. So how will you get that? Where is the grace of God? Just you take few steps outside your room. There's beautiful sun shining outside, there is warmth, there is light, there is beauty, there is scenery, there is nature, all joy is there. Just take a few steps out of your room. That is the unfurling of the sail. The grace of God is always there. That's what it is said. So this unfurling of the sail is purifying our heart. Making our heart pure. Why it is made impure? When we are too much worldly, out of desires, out of expectations, out of finding all defects and judging others, it becomes impure. If we could give up those things, it is pure. When it is pure, then the grace of God can be utilized by this self. And we grow from step to step towards spirituality and towards blessedness. Jesus said, "Sell whatever you have and follow me." That selling was the word, unfurling of the self. And following in Jesus to blessedness is His grace of God. Sri Krishna said, "Buddhau sharanam indicca." Take refuge in buddhi. He didn't say refuge in God even. In buddhi. What type of buddhi? That purified buddhi. Purified buddhi becomes a guide and it takes you to higher spiritual realm. When your heart is free from jealousy, hatred, competition, all sorts of worldly, enjoyable desires, it is free from that, and you want that blessedness of the joy of God, that bliss, then it is purified. And when heart is purified, if that becomes your guide, take refuge in such heart. That will take you to ultimate reality. That will be the grace of God flowing that to you. Sri Ramakrishna said, unless there is a hollow in the land, water doesn't accumulate, rainwater. Rainwater is like the grace of God. If it is a mound, there's some heap, rainwater doesn't accumulate there. All rainwater flows down, but it accumulates in the hollow. That hollow is the preparation, the purity of the heart, that humility of the heart. That becomes a hollow where grace of God can accumulate, can guide us. Sri Krishna said, "Mamekam sharanam braja." Take refuge to me. Again he said, once he said, Buddha Saranam Anicca, for those who believe in their own self, like the practitioner of Advaita Vedanta, the one reality. For Bhakta type, for Jnani he said that, for Bhakta he said, Mamekam Sharanam Braja. Take refuge in me alone. Look at me. Whenever you are in trouble, as the Vinodini was said by Sri Ram, Vinodini was said by her mother, whenever you are in trouble, pray to God. She must have prayed. That's why this grace of Sri Ramakrishna flowed to him. She must have prayed throughout her life to God. That was the one step that she took towards God. God came 10 steps to her, coming all the way from the dress circle or wherever he was seated, watching that thing, and that he came that day to see her. And how much he blessed. People were all scared to go to these actresses that time. They were said to be very fallen women. How Sri Ramakrishna's love just changed her life. That is the grace. It doesn't say savior of fallen, purified of sinners. Those are the words that Vinodini herself has used for Sri Ramakrishna. And that is God. In the story of Jesus, don't we see how she saved the life of that woman? Saying that whoever has not committed sin, throw first stone. He had no remorse. He doesn't hate anyone. God doesn't hate anyone, any sinner. Girish Ghosh is the example who said, if I knew that God would come, I would commit perhaps more sins, he said. That faith in Sri Ramakrishna as God. That's tremendous grace. To have that faith in God is the greatest grace of God that we need to have. Complete surrender to God and sacrifice of the ego and feeling of I am the doer and things belong to me, I am the possessor. These 3 things we could do. Surrendering ourselves to the will of God and removing the ego of a doer and ego of possessor. Then our heart will be purified. And once our heart is purified, we have unfurled the sail. The grace of God is ever growing. We will be taken across this samsara, this world of suffering and misery, and will be taken to the blessedness. Where will we be taken? In this very world. We'll be reacting, we'll be interacting with the whole world. With a different person we'll become. We'll be different person, never disturbed by anything in the world. That is the grace of God which falls when we can purify our heart. Thank you very much.